Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is going to be the last thing of this podcast that I like to call Flowers. It is a segment in this podcast where I give a specific artist who was hated on previously their flowers. So we're going to start with Marcus Jamal Hopsin, aka Hopsin. And you might be asking, why or who the hell is Hopsin? Hopsin is a rapper from Panamera City, Los Angeles, California. Um, some may describe his style as that of Eminem because he, a lot of the way he sounded was like Eminem. A lot of his style comes from Eminem. Um, he even has a record label called Undercover Prodigy. He used to have another label called Funk Volume. For a lot of years in the indie scene, he was somebody you looked towards. But the thing about it was a split crowd. It was like the indie fans loved him. These mainstream fans over here who liked a certain rapper hated him. And it was because he was dissing all of our favorite rappers. Let me tell you something. There's a song that he did that got my attention, that actually got me into starting to like looking into who he was. It was called Sag My Pants. The song was called Sag My Pants. And in that song he's dissing Rick Ross, he's dissing Lil Wayne, he's dissing Drake, amongst other things. But at this time, it's like it's one of those things where he was doing it for attention and seeking validation from certain parts of the music industry because they were like, I guess he wasn't getting what he was supposed to get as far as like being like signed or anything like that. So he did that, and that put an identity on top of him that made him out to be the guy who was supposed to be like this lyrical miracle spiritual rapper, as well as it put this tag on him that made it out to be that he was corny, because it's like he had these different like phases in the beginning of his career where he was anti trap music, right? He didn't like the hood trap rap like that. He hated it. He hated it, right? That was like the first parts of his career, from like maybe from like the first album that he did on Funk Volume all the way until like probably whatever the last album was before he's like maybe the last album he did on Funk Volume before that whole thing happened. Um he After that started doing trap music. So it was just kind of like, I feel like there was a period in his career where like he was like going through a maturity phase where he wasn't matured yet. But it was just kind of like it was that phase of like his own version of, you know, childishness. I'll just say tawdriness, if you will. Um Through all that, I still thought he was an incredible rapper, even though he dissed some of the rappers that I actually liked and everything like that. But that was just like to have that was just like to like seal an identity. Whoever like what he is now is a rapper who made it through all of that and is still able to put out music and still say, "Hey, I'm still making whatever I'm making from past albums, and I don't even have to put out albums anymore. I can just put out singles for the rest of my days." So, with that regard, the groundwork he did with Funk Volume, all the way up until now, that man deserves his flowers. It was cool to hate on Hobson because everybody thought he was corny. Everybody thought he was trying to be Eminem. Everybody thought he was doing this. Everybody thought he was doing that. It was okay. It was a mainstay to call him corny. But now, at 35 years old, the man's a legend. He left his mark in the music game. I don't care what anybody says. This man produces his own music. This man writes his own music. This man records his own music. He does like almost everything by himself. Why would you hate that? Why would you even remotely be mad at somebody for doing and having an indie spirit? I mean, yeah, I know he was dissing rappers, but like, what rapper hasn't dissed people for attention? 50 Cent, when he first came out, was dissing a bunch of rappers that people liked. Yeah, he got hate for it. But after a while, people stopped caring because he was actually good at rapping, and he could like capture the essence of a room with what he spit, or what antics he could put together. You know, there, like I said, there are Tupac. Tupac used to diss rappers all day, every day. People still regard him as one of the greatest rappers to ever grace a microphone. That's all I'm saying. I mean, Game is another one. Game disses a bunch of rappers are fr- that he's friends with. He's friends with. Diss them all, and he still turns around and still does asses for features and everything like that. So I think Hopsin, when he decides to stop doing music and just, I guess, decide to like be like a full time father, which I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing now. That's probably the next step for him, is to, like, I guess, step away from music and just either, be a father and just do something, just, be a full time dad and just do something else. Um, yeah, I think he'll be regarded as a legend. This man put more than about probably about 15 years into this game. So for that, Hobson, you deserve your flowers. That is the end of this podcast, and you guys take it easy, and I will be back with another podcast.